Solve the following inequality, x plus 6 squared times x minus 3 greater than 0. We can also express this product as three separate factors, x plus 6 times x plus 6 times x minus 3. The solution set would be whatever could be substituted for x that would make this product greater than 0, or in other words, positive. So let's think about what happens when we multiply three factors together with regard to their positive or negative signs. In order for this product to be greater than 0 or positive, we would either have to have three positives multiplied together or two negatives and a positive. So let's list each factor so that we can determine the intervals where each is positive or negative. So we will list each factor separately, each of the x plus 6 factors and then the x minus 3 factor. Now let's extend a number line so that we can see what the positive or negative signs are for each of these factors over the real numbers. We'll start by noting that x plus 6 is 0 when x is negative 6. So we'll line up a 0 with the x plus 6 factor and the value negative 6. We'll do that again for the second x plus 6 factor. X minus 3 is 0 when x is positive 3. So in the same way, we will line up a 0 with the x minus 3 factor and 3 on the number line. Now we will extend vertical lines through these zeros and down through the number line so that we can map out the positive and negative signs for each of these factors over the real numbers. We can see that we have divided the number line into three parts. The part that is less than negative 6, the part that is between negative 6 and 3, and the part that is greater than 3. If we substitute values that are less than negative 6 into the factor x plus 6, such as negative 7 or negative 8, the result would be negative. So we'll place a negative sign in this region that corresponds to the factor x plus 6. Since the second factor is the same, we'll place a negative here too. Likewise, if we substitute values that are less than negative 6, such as negative 7 or negative 8, into the factor x minus 3, it would also be negative. If we substitute values that are between negative 6 and 3, such as negative 5, negative 3, 0, 1, or 2, the result would be positive if we substitute it into the factor x plus 6. Again, we have a matching x plus 6, so we'll place a positive in that region for this factor also. If we substitute values such as negative 5, negative 3, negative 1, 1, or 2 into the factor x minus 3, the result would be negative. Moving on to the region where x is greater than 3, if we were to substitute values that are greater than 3, such as 4, 5, or 6, into the factor x plus 6, the result would be positive. If we substitute values such as 4, 5, or 6 into the factor x minus 3, the result would also be positive. Now what we have to remember is what we are doing with each of these factors. We are multiplying them. So when we multiply three negatives together, the result is negative. When we multiply two positives and a negative together, the result is again negative. But when we multiply three positive values together, the result is positive. This is the result we were looking for. So in interval notation, our solution would be 3 to infinity, and not including 3 because our inequality says strictly greater than and not equal to.